Do you often perceive yourself as a person that is undisciplined, that lacks consistency when it comes to achieve your goals? If that is your case, you might find yourself on the dark side of your Jester archetype. So today we are going to see here how the Jester archetype creates self-sabotage. But before we go further, let me inform you that this is the 12th and last video on a series that we're making on how calling your archetype creates self-sabotage. So today we're going to see how the Jester archetype creates self-sabotage. We're going to see the dark side of the Jester archetype. But before I go further, there is something that you must understand, and that is the basis for you to understand the entire video. And that is the definition, the understanding of archetype. I already defined it on previous video that you can find the link right there. But for those of you that haven't watched any other video on this series, which I recommend you watch, I am going to define for you what is archetype, so you can understand what is archetype. Now, archetype, they have been discovered by a psychoanalyst named Carl Jung. He has been doing a lot of research. He has been studying human nature, human behaviors. And this is when he found out, this is when he discovered that there are certain behaviors, right, certain way of acting, certain way of seeing the world, certain way of understanding things that are common across different people, different societies, different cultures. And he named these common behaviors, these common potential latent pattern of behaviors, archetype. So archetype is a common pattern of behavior. It's a common ways that we human beings act. Right? This is a potential, it's a latent pattern of behavior on how we behave, on how we act, on how we see the world. So that is the definition we have of archetype. So today we are going to see how does the Jester archetype create self-sabotage. But before we even see the dark side of the Jester archetype, let us see what is the Jester archetype. Now the Jester archetype is whenever that you found yourself with the desire to enjoy life, with the desire to see things differently, with the desire to see things on a different perspective than other people see the reality. So when other people only see problem, when other people only see obstacles, you see the funny thing behind it. Now, this is a very good behavior, and you have been using it in the past. If you take some time and you observe yourself, you'll see that you've been acting from this pattern of behavior a lot of time in the past. And this is the same as any other archetype. We have been using them in the past in different areas of our life. Right? So if you see in the past, if you see your past action, right, past behaviors, the way that you've acted in the past, you'll see that there were moments in your life, there were situations that you were experiencing where other people only see obstacles, where other people only see problems. But you see the problem, you see the obstacles, but you don't let them distract you. You don't let them take away your joy. You don't let them take away your purpose. You don't let them take away your motivation. You don't let them take away your drive to move forward. So you see the funny thing behind it, and you let that drive you. So that is a very good archetype. Like any other archetype, that is the benefit of the Jester archetype. The benefit of the Jester archetype is because when we act from this energy, when we act from this archetype, this pattern of behavior, we see joy. We see things that are between the lines. We don't let obstacles take away our joy. We don't let obstacle takes away our peace and our purpose. But the problem starts when we don't know how to manage, when we don't know how to use this energy, and we let this energy create self-sabotage in our life. So I am going to share with you one sign that you're acting from the dark side of the Jester archetype. I'm going to share with you one sign that you are using the Jester archetype to create self-sabotage in your life. But before I go further, let me inform you that we do have a framework. It's called the Framework of Change Mastery that can help you to stop any self-sabotaging behavior and create the desired change that you want in your life. The link is on the description below. You'll be able to find the free guide. Now, on the free guide, you'll be able to see the 4 levels of change, right? And you can see which level is keeping you stuck at the moment. Because a lot of people think that change only happen in the physical level. There are 4 levels of change, and you must understand them and align them to create a sustainable change in your life and stop your self-sabotaging behavior. So go ahead and download it. The link is on the description below. Now I'm going to share with you one side, like I said, that is proving to you that you're acting from the dark side of the Jester archetype. Most people that are acting from the Jester archetype, they use the Jester archetype to avoid the hard things in life. So whenever that you found yourself that you're using the Jester archetype to avoid the hard things in life, to avoid consistency, to avoid discipline, this is when you're acting from the dark side of the Jester archetype. So one sign that you're acting from the Jester archetype is whenever that you found yourself that you're using this energy, that you're using this perception that you have, that you're using this gift, this energy, this archetype to avoid situations that are hard, to avoid to be consistent on your goals, and to avoid to have the primary discipline that is necessary. Whenever that you found yourself in this situation, this is when you're acting from the dark side of the Jester archetype. And this is a very bad spot to find yourself into, because any physical result requires consistency. In fact, consistency is the primary key factor for anyone to achieve a physical result in their life, in any area. If you want to change your health, certain habit, your finances, your business, your relationship, you can't do one thing once. You have to do the correct things for the required time that is necessary. So you have to do it over and over and over and over. You have to do it every single time, because consistency of the correct action will give you the desired result that you're looking for. Now, if you're using the Jester archetype, if you're using the Jester energy to avoid the discipline, to avoid the consistency that is required on your action to have the desired goals that you want, you will self-sabotage every single time. Now, the Jester archetype is a very good archetype, like we said, because it helps us to be relaxed. It helps us to be relaxed because once you're relaxed, once you're not in the survival mode, this is when you can be inspired. This is when you can have no ideas. This is when you can have no solution. This is when you can see new ways to move forward. This is when you can get yourself out of the current situation that you're in. But you can only do that by the use of the Jester archetype, because you'll be relaxed. You'll see how funny things are. Right? So you won't let the obstacles, you won't let the problem stop you from moving forward. You'll be relaxed, knowing that things will go their way, knowing that you achieve the goals that you set yourself to achieve at a certain moment of your life. So you'll be relaxed. And once you're relaxed and you're no longer on survival mode, and once you're no longer in an emergency mode, this is when you'll be inspired. And once you're inspired with new ideas, this is when you'll take the correct action. And this is also when you'll find yourself to use consistency until you have the desired goals that you're looking for, the desired future that you're looking for. So, like we said, the Jester archetype is a very good archetype. It helps us. It helps us to move forward. It helps us to be calm. It helps us to understand things differently. It helps us to see things differently, to have a different perspectives of things. So when everybody around you see problems and obstacles, you can see the funny things behind it. You can have a different meaning of the situation. So you don't let these obstacles or these problems stop you from your purpose, from your goals. So you must know, you must master on how to use the Jester archetype to create instead of self-sabotaging. Right? So that is what you have to master. You have to master the balance between discipline and calm. You have to master when you have to go, when you have to push, and when you have to let go. On every single decision that you're making on your life to achieve a desired result, you must master that energy. It's a very important energy because it helps us to be relaxed, to be calm, to see things differently, to be secure. Because most of the things that you're going to achieve in your life, you achieve them once you're secure, once you're calm. Once you know that this goal that you have, you will achieve it. And to do that, you need the Jester energy. But you can't let the Jester energy using you to avoid things when things are hard. So a very good example is, let's say that you have a goal to make a certain diet, right? Uh, let's say that you're trying to lose a certain amount of pounds, something like that. And then this is the goals that you have. You know, one thing that a lot of people don't know is once you're starting a goal, discipline is required. Discipline is required to make a decision, right? So you must have discipline to start the goal. So once you have the discipline required to start the goal, you'll need consistency until you have the results that you're looking for. Now, this consistency, in order for you to build this consistency, a lot of obstacles will happen on your way to achieve the goal that you have. So if you want to lose a certain amount of pounds, there will be problems, there will be obstacles, there will be bad moments, there will be temptation on your way to achieve this goal that you have. So once you see this problem, once you see these obstacles, once you see this temptation, once you see that you fall, this is when you'll need the Jester energy to see the funny thing behind it and to keep going, to stay calm and to keep going, to stay relaxed and to keep going. And that is when you'll need the Jester energy to move past the obstacles, to move past the problems. Because if you set the goals, you will have obstacles. You will have problems. In fact, this is one of the chapters we discussed in the framework of change mastery, which is the framework to stop any self-sabotaging behavior and create a desired change in your life. We discussed that in the module 4. Right? So you will have problems. As soon as you set a goal, you will have problems. And the Jester energy is what is going to help you to move past them. So you have to master this energy. You have to master this archetype, which is a very good pattern of behavior, very good way to behave because it helps us to stay calm and to be focused. So think about that and meditate on it. Ask yourself, when I set a goal, do I know when to push and when to relax? Do I understand when to take action? And do I understand when to let go? Do I understand that if something happened and I fall, do I understand that I have to be calm and keep moving forward? So you have to master the entire energy of the Jester archetype. Very, very, very important archetype. But a lot of people use it wrong because they don't know how to manage it, how to use it correctly to achieve the goals that you set yourself to achieve. So go ahead and think about it and meditate on that. And you can let me know in the comment, what is one goal you're achieving right now and you're trying to master this energy in order for you to create it. And as for the free guide and the framework of change mastery, the link will be in the description below. For those of you who want to work right now, there's also a link in the description below where you can schedule a 30-minute call with us, and we'll be able to help you to use the framework of change mastery to stop your self-sabotaging behaviors. All right. And then for those of you that has question on why we do self-sabotage and how can we stop that, how can we reprogram our subconscious mind, how can we create new habit, you can go ahead and participate with us in our next live event. The link also is going to be on the description below. You'll be able to ask questions and participate and join us live, and we'll be able to help you live. That was all for today, and then I'll see you on the next video.